Zach was definitely one of those kids that like you'd have to scale back a little bit. And one of the ideas he brought me, he was like, okay, so imagine this, like we get a diaper and we like melt a chocolate bar in it, and the students are all just licking the chocolate out of the diaper behind the brick wall. And I was like, Zach, I love where your head's at. I think that would be very distracting, but I'm going to go ahead and just have to say that's not what we're going to do this weekend.
Welcome, everybody, to the R&R CatCast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy. Welcome back, Bobcat fans. Well, thanks for joining us on another episode during this quarantine time. We have a special interview that we conducted with the Associate Athletic Director, Bethany Cordell, that we're going to play for you here in a moment. First of all, Thorny, how are you doing?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing over there?
Man, I am hanging in there. The new normal is, well, just normal now. It's not new anymore. After about 2 months of this, it is what it is, but yeah, the Foley household's holding together.
Has it only been 2 months? I feel like I've been stuck in this time warp over here for like a year now. Everything
is not quite
upside
2
down.
months actually yet. But
that wouldn't surprise me.
We're getting close. Yeah. I'm excited for our listeners to hear this interview with Bethany. Her energy is just palpable. The way that MSU is going right now, it just, she answers a ton of questions about, the steps Montana State is taking. She talks about our coaches. It's just a great interview. I'm just excited for our fans. And if you're just searching for something that's just Bobcat related, sports related, if you've been starved for this will definitely satisfy your taste.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I mean, if you're drawing up someone to fill that role, an MSU grad who has some experience in a couple of bigger programs, some FBS football-wise programs, a Bozeman or a MSU grad, I mean, it just doesn't get much better than that. So I think she was great to have on the show, and I just really appreciate her taking some time out of her day, late in the day, to come on and talk some Montana State athletics with us. So without further ado, here is our interview with Bethany Cordell, Associate Athletic Director.
Now we welcome in Bethany Cordell, Associate Athletic Director at Montana State. Bethany, thanks for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk with you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, especially, it's pretty late for you over there. We had a little bit of technical difficulties getting this all together tonight for you listeners out there, but hey, we got it working. She's here, and we appreciate her taking some time to come on. Well, for those of you who don't know, Bethany Cordell, like Ryan said, is the Associate Athletic Director for Montana State. First off, Bethany, can you just give us a little bit of a general idea of what it is exactly an Associate Athletic Director does?
That's a great question. Associate Athletic Director, there's a couple of them on staff here at MSU, and we all kind of take different areas. My full official title is Associate Athletic Director for Annual Giving and Fan Development, which is a new role that I moved into in the last month or so. And so really, I work on the external team. Before this recent transition, I was responsible for all of our game day production. So really the circus that surrounds a game, whether that's the fireworks, the music, the video board, the atmosphere, etc. Marketing, our season ticket sales, social media, that sort of stuff, which is everything I'm still really involved in as well, but I am starting to transition into working in development as well too. So none of our jobs look like they did, 3 months ago by any means, but it's been fun.
Well, that is news to me. I did not know that you moved into a new position, and most of our questions are crafted about the old position.
I'm still overseeing all those same areas at this point, so I'm happy to answer all of those questions, anyways.
Right on, Bethany. Are we right? Are you a MSU graduate yourself?
I am. I proudly graduated in 2012. I double majored in marketing and Spanish, and my dad went to MSU, and there definitely was never a question of where I was going for my undergrad.
Absolutely. And then it looks like you took a job at Cal and Kansas State. We were kind of wondering, what did you do there?
Yeah. So immediately after graduation from MSU, I went to Kansas State to be a graduate assistant in their athletic department. I got an internship when I was a freshman here at MSU that really opened my eyes into working in college athletics, which is ironic to the nth degree since the last sport I played was like track and field in fifth grade, I think. But somehow found a way to make a career in college athletics. So when I graduated, went and got my MBA at Kansas State while I was working in their marketing office, which was just a phenomenal experience. Definitely was a little bit starstruck right away, working at a football game that has 70,000 people at it. I had never been to Kansas before, and it was a great time. So I spent 2 years there. And then, like you mentioned, I went to Cal after that, which was definitely even more of an adjustment. I had never been to Berkeley or the San Francisco Bay Area. So moved out there for an awesome opportunity and worked on their marketing team for a couple of years as well.
So you kind of just took wherever the job opportunities took you, right?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the nature of it in college athletics and in sports is, there's so many people that want a finite number of jobs that you really have to be open to any opportunities, especially based on location. I learned that pretty early on.
So then there after Cal, then how did you end up coming back to Bozeman?
Well, it was funny. I'm really close with my family, and my mom, as soon as I graduated from MSU, she was always like, okay, I need you to come back to Montana pretty much as soon as I left. And I always joked there's one job in the entire state that I would come back for. And it happened to open up when I was 2 years into my position at Cal, and Leon had just been hired, and he was putting together his staff. I was actually his first hire as athletic director, which I do take a lot of pride in the fact that I got to come here and join his leadership team and help him make an impact from day one. So it was really an opportunity that, I couldn't turn down. I was 25, had the opportunity to work in college athletics in my favorite state and be around Montana and family. And that just doesn't happen all the time.
Not going to lie, that was my dream job coming out of MSU myself as a marketing graduate. I wanted to work in, sports marketing for MSU in some capacity. And turns out I'm not really that very good at marketing. So didn't pursue a career in marketing, but got that degree anyway. That's the important part, right?
Exactly.
Hey, Bethany, before we go on, I was just wondering, did you grow up in Montana?
I did. I grew up in East Helena. And so I always...
Right on.
Yeah, it's funny when Bill Lamberty was writing the press release to announce my hire almost 4 years ago now. He had listed me as being from Helena, and I was very quick to correct him that I'm in fact from East Helena, and it's a distinct difference. And I'm very proud of it.
Nice. Nice.
A speed trap over in East Helena.
Yep.
I'm from Helena myself, or graduated high school in Helena anyway,
okay.
Capital. So I'm familiar with East Helena.
Oh, good.
So, Bethany, one of your more important roles, at least from a football fan perspective from us, is you seem to be kind of in charge of a lot of the game day experience. Mm-hmm. And we've noticed an improvement. Even, Ryan and I don't get to go to a lot of games, but we read the boards, we watch all the games, we hear people talk about it. The game day experience has been improving every single year, but it gets overwhelming if you just start to think about all the logistics that make it possible. How do you accomplish all of these tasks week in and week out, just such a grand scale?
Yeah. Well, I'd be remiss if I even started answering that question without just acknowledging the dozens and dozens, probably over 100 people that put work into putting on a game day, especially a football game, like you mentioned. It's so much fun. I remember being my first football game back when I actually didn't do game production at Cal. So it had been a while since I had been involved in that, and coming in the middle to late July and being like, all right, we got a football game in 8 weeks. So what are we going to do here? And it's just awesome. Like, you think about the fact that, we meet as a group about every other week starting like early July, as we're leading into the season. And then we meet weekly once we get into the season. But that group is everybody from our athletic director, Leon usually tries to go to those meetings, to our band director, to the crew that's running the video board, to our concessions operators, to our MSU police, and really everybody in between. And so I love that my role is to kind of tie everybody in together and listen to that fan feedback, like you mentioned, and really have an opportunity to tweak and to improve. But Yeah, there's a lot of different documents that circulate all week, making sure we're staying on task. We do 3 different rehearsals as far as like a tech perspective from the video board and music leading up to each game. And once we're in football season, we really get in a groove, but it's a lot of hours leading up to each Saturday.
And I'm sure a big part of that is just taking hot off the presses feedback from Bobcat Nation message board, I'm sure.
It's funny. I think I've been elected to be the one person that goes on there and makes sure that, that we have a representative on the board.
I give you credit for, I give you credit for going there because everyone's got an idea about how it should be done.
Gosh. They have ideas about how it should be done. And, some are a lot nicer about their ideas than others are.
Oh, yeah.
So during each sport's respective season, and let's say just even thinking about football season and basketball season and spring, is the work week fairly formulaic, or do you think it's does every week bring its own challenges and feel different?
That's a great question. I think it's not to cop out of that question, but it's a balance of both. Once we're in the groove of football season, there are things that are so methodical about, the timing of our production meetings and when our run throughs are and everything like that. But there's also so much that fluctuates based on, is it homecoming we're preparing for? Is it Cat Grizz? Is it military appreciation? And so those sorts of things will pretty dramatically change the days outside of those regular meetings leading up to a game. And then once you get to October, November to season, December, and you're in that dreaded overlap season where all of your sports are happening at once, then you're definitely just, trying to keep your head above water each day in the best way possible. Come home exhausted every day, but you feel really accomplished and you're like, all right, we have 5 home events this week. Let's get through them.
Yeah. And you have quite the team of interns working for you. I mean, we get to see that through the social media. You do a fantastic job of promoting that. But one of the questions I was thinking of when I knew we were going to talk to you is what does it take to be an intern for Bethany Cordell?
Oh, I love that question. And I'm glad you brought it up because really that genuinely is one of my favorite parts about my job is working with our intern program. When I interned for MSU as an undergrad myself, I was the only intern in the marketing office. And to see that we've grown that to having 15 undergrads that work on the team, just in the marketing office alone is something I'm really proud of. And I think a testament to what we're building because we just simply can't do it without them. And, some of our best interns that have come through the program, when you ask what does it take to be an intern, the 3 that are the top that come to mind, none of them were marketing majors. They weren't even business majors when we hired them. Hayden Bendy, who's at Mississippi State right now, actually is one of the kids I'm really proud of. He was an engineering major when I hired him. His parents probably still hate me that I hired him and managed to convince him that he loves sports marketing. But he changed his major and absolutely loved it. So when I'm hiring interns, I just look for excitement, for passion, for the willingness to go above and beyond. I actually have a fairly grueling interview process for our interns. It's usually 2 or 3 rounds of interviews. And if you're a finalist, you do have to submit a brief marketing plan, an example of what you would do to promote, for example, a volleyball game on campus. And so the main reason I do that is just to kind of weed out the kids that are going to put in that effort because you just need them at the end of the day. It's a grueling internship. It's a lot of fun and there's a lot of benefits to it, but it's a lot of work. So I want to make sure we're putting the right people on our team.
Kind of piggyback off the question there. Wasn't there some sort of volleyball marketing campaign that kind of went viral on Twitter this year? Was it volleyball or was it women's basketball?
I think you're thinking about, are you talking about the Rocky Mountain Oysters?
That's
yeah. That was men's basketball. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was an idea we had 2 years ago and we just never ran with it. It wasn't quite the right timing. And Danny Sprinkle and Leon, bless their hearts, kind of gave us the go ahead. I'm pretty sure they shook their heads at us and they were like, what the heck are you doing? But okay, you can go with it. And ended up being a lot of fun. And so I love doing goofy stuff like that. I literally have a huge, one of the walls in my office is just floor to ceiling whiteboard. And I'll throw all the kids in the office one afternoon and we will literally throw things at a wall and see what sticks. And some ideas are goofy and work. Some ideas are goofy and don't work. And everything in between. But I think that's the beauty of working in marketing and working in marketing at our level. And I just mentioned him, but Leon supporting us to try new things. And I think that means a lot too.
Well, before we get off the interns, I did have one question. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you had a notable intern, at least from Bobcat football standpoint, Zach Minter. Am I correct in that?
You are. He was one of my interns, I think my first year. Yeah. That's funny.
Do you got a good Zach story for us?
Oh gosh. Actually I do. So he was a great guy. He was so much fun, brought like a ton of energy to the team. And that year we had started with like the brick wall of distraction, right? It was kind of a playoff. I think it's Arizona State that does like the curtain of distraction behind the free throws. And Zach like loved the idea and he like championed it for us. And we were having some really hilarious ideas of what was happening in the student section behind this quote unquote brick wall we had created. And normally like I'm the type of supervisor that like, I want you to bring ideas to me to the point that like I have to scale you back, right? Like I don't want to be pulling them from you. And Zach was definitely one of those kids that like you'd have to scale back a little bit. And one of the ideas he brought me, he was like, okay, so imagine this, like we get a diaper and we like melt a chocolate bar in it and the students are all just licking the chocolate out of the diaper behind the brick wall. And I was like, Zach, I love where your head's at. I think that would be very distracting, but I'm going to go ahead and just have to say that's not what we're going to do this weekend. And I mean, it was just awesome. He just loved it. He started conga lines in the student section. Like he just leaned into being that engaging kid, which is awesome. I keep calling him a kid. He's older than me, but he was awesome. He was a great intern.
Nice. Well, thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So how do you measure on a personal level if you are successful? That's a pretty big question. You can answer however you want. You can take it down small bite-sized pieces, but
we're interviewing you now, so yes.
Okay. Love it. I don't know. I mean, the whole reason I got in college athletics is just I'm so passionate about creating experiences. So it's creating that experience for the student athlete to walk out into, a sold out brick, to creating that experience for the dad who's bringing his 8-year-old daughter to her first football game, can list a million of these. And I just get so excited. And I've been this way ever since I was a little kid. Like I have way more fun planning other people's fun. Like that's just has always what's been able to get me excited. And I think the way I measure success is if I can feel myself doing that. And there's so many metrics that, are a lot easier to like actually track if you're successful or not. Like, are we making more money than we made the year before? Our ticket sales obviously is a huge driving force to how we support our athletic department and our scholarships. But so you look at those metrics, you look at social media metrics, you look at any sort of numbers. And my MBA was focused in data analytics, so I can talk about numbers forever. But at the core of what I do, I just feel like I'm doing a good job when I can see those experiences happen. And to be able to create that at every game is really special, but those extra special moments are the ones that stick with you even longer. And so to know, when a student athlete, comes up to me at the end of their season and just, thanks me for what I did, or fans, or, you can just see it. And on our side, we're used to working behind the scenes, and I'm very happy to exist behind the scenes. But when you do have people noticing what you do and what you're creating for them, I think that organically makes me feel more successful than any numbers would.
So one of the next questions I had was, what are you most proud of? It sounds like you may have answered that a little bit just right there.
Yeah. There's so many moments like that I can look back on. Like this year when the women's basketball team beat the Grizz at home, like that meant we clinched at least a portion of the Big Sky Conference championship. And we had a lot of conversations internally leading up to that game about, how are we going to celebrate it? And the fact that, we were able to be ready with confetti from the rafters and t-shirts, and to be able to create that moment and cutting down nets with golden scissors. Like those are the moments I'm really proud of. On my resume, I'm really proud of, these season ticket campaigns that broke records at these different schools I've worked at, and any of those sorts of things. But the things that I know this is so cheesy, but that'll stick with me the longest are when I was able to create a cool memory for people.
Nice. Well, from afar, you're doing a fantastic job, and I know Ryan and I are just like thrilled to have you on here, and we just wanted to talk to you, and we just want to thank you for your time. We do have a couple more questions for you though, but I'm just giddy over here because you do such a good job, and you do such a good job representing uh, Montana State, and Montana State is so dear to our hearts, and so I just want to say, like, just personally, just thank you because we just love Montana State so much, and I mean, this is why we do it. But when you came on board, we saw a precipitous gain in just like game day experience and just the energy around Montana State. One of the things I was thinking about when we were crafting these questions is there's got to be a time where you just save the day for Montana State, though. Like there's a linchpin kind of moment where like, oh my gosh, if I don't do this, this is not going to happen, and it's going to be like total failure. You got to give me one of those stories.
Oh man, I don't know. That's a good question. Let me think. I mean, I have no doubt there's been plenty of situations where other people have had to come in and save the day of something going wrong. I don't know. I honestly can't point to a single situation. And I think that's such a testament to the team that Leon's built too. I know that sounds like kind of a cop-out answer, but like I feel like we just flow so well as a group that, you know, when there's something like, crap, we got to do this, you know, it gets picked up. And I think that, you know, my role within the department is often to push the envelope or to have the crazy ideas or to say like, hey, I think it is important that we drop, you know, 50 pounds of confetti or however many pounds it was from the ceiling. And, you know, I think it's really good to have a balanced team of people that, you know, sometimes can scale back on those ideas or, you know, just be balanced. And, yeah, I feel like that was kind of a cop out to your question. I'm sorry, but I really can't think of a situation. At least not one that I want to talk about on a podcast.
Like you said, it's just kind of a testament to how well oiled the machine is. You don't even need to save the day.
Yeah.
I do have a question though. I did, you know, you tweeted out, and I don't remember the timeline on this now, but there was a day where someone for MSU saved the day for you. I believe you may have been stranded in a vehicle.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, that feels like forever ago. Yes. Okay. That was, I think it was, so it was last winter, I think. I was driving home fairly late and it was icy and I completely slid off the road, into a ditch. And I was I was by myself. I was stuck. I had called AAA and they were like, okay, it'll take like an hour to come tow you out. And I was on this back road, like all the way out to Four Corners. And all of a sudden this truck drives by and he like slows down and he sees me on the side of the road. And then like starts to back up and I see that there's a Montana State football sticker in the back. And I was like, oh, I wonder if it's a season ticket holder or something. And just like he gets out of the car and it's two of our football guys, including Jory Choate, son of Jeff Choate. And like they were so excited. So apparently Jeff had gotten him a tow rope a couple months earlier and he hadn't gotten to use it yet. And so they were just so excited to be able to like rescue me and save the day. And yeah, they got me right out. They made sure it was cute too. Like as Jory was tying it on, he's like, I don't know if this is going to work. I think it's going to work, but if it's not, I'm going to stay with you until AAA gets here. Like, we're not going to leave you. And I ran into Jeff in the hallway the next morning at like 8:30 and I was like, hey, I got to tell you something. He's like, my kid saved you last night. I know. He called me, woke me up at midnight just to tell me that he had used the tow rope that I had given him. And he was so proud. Yeah, it was such a random moment, but again, just such a good reminder of the amazing people we have from head to toe in our program.
Well, that is quite the story. And I know we have like a question at the end, maybe about, let's just ask you right now. When you think about these coaches such as Choate and Sprinkle, and you get to work with Leon, I mean, from afar, like for Ryan and I, who are simply fans, they're huge personalities. How do you work within these personalities? I mean, they're honestly just men, right? But for us, it's Coach Choate, it's Coach Sprinkle, it's Leon Costello. Like, is it just like laissez-faire when you're around them, or is it if you get them together, how do they interact? I want to know.
That's a really good question. Definitely when I first got here, mostly just because I had worked at or spent most of my time at significantly bigger athletic departments in much smaller roles. Like I was low man on the totem pole. Like I I don't think any of the head coaches would have known who I was, and to jump into a much smaller, tighter knit department and in a role where I do interact daily with all of our head coaches was certainly a little daunting at first. And Coach Choate will be the first to tell you actually that he and I have not always gotten along. We've definitely argued over different perspectives on whether it's marketing campaigns or posters or something like that. But at the end of the day, like I just love the personalities they bring because they're fighting for what they want their program to represent. And that just means the world to me, to be able to have coaches of such high character that care that much, that we are representing their program in the way they want us to. And they're loud personalities. I mean, like there's a running joke that you don't want anyone ever to present after Coach Choate or to speak after Coach Choate at an event. Like you were just absolutely setting themselves up for failure by not having him be the closer. And man, when that man gets rolling, our signing day event this February was prime Coach Choate, and I just loved it. Like our fans eat it up, like you said. And when you do get all those people in a room, and like last year for our spring swing, our Eastern swing, when we went around the country, and I got to, or not around the country, around Eastern Montana. It felt like we were driving around the country. It's a big state to drive around.
It's the country.
It's the country, exactly. But just getting to spend so much time in small spaces with Coach Choate and with Leon, and at the end of the day, they really are, like you said, just guys that are doing what they love. And it's intimidating sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, like especially being like, not to play this card, but being a female and being young and being someone who didn't play sports, it's certainly a little stressful sometimes to feel like you can't keep up in those situations. But I think that our coaches do such a good job and just making everybody feel included, and realizing that everyone that's on Leon's team, whether it's a head coach, an administrator, etc., is there for a reason and brings something very particular to the table.
I found a good quote from the Bozeman Daily Chronicle, Paul Schwedelson. Danny Sprinkle said to you, I believe, "You're going to get tired of me. I'm telling you right now." How's that going? How's your relationship with Danny Sprinkle?
Oh, I literally was just texting him like 3 hours ago, actually. So that's when you say that. Great relationship with Danny. He's so awesome. He did explicitly call me out in his press conference by name, saying that I would get sick of him. And it's been awesome. I mean, from a marketing/external relations perspective, a head coach who is willing to get out there in the community and not just say that they're willing to, but actually is like a godsend. Like that's not something you get often. And I can confidently say that about every single one of our head coaches here. And I think that reflects not only on them, but also the community of Bozeman and just the Montana State family. It's not something that anybody dreads by any means. And so, when I tell Danny that we are yet again bringing sprinkle donuts, because I'm not sick of that pun yet, around campus, like that, he's up for it. And, that's not always seen at the Division I level. So we really have something special here in every single one of our coaches.
Well, it certainly seems that way from the fan perspective on our side. We love all the people in the positions right now, and you're doing a great job as well.
Well, thank you.
Before we pivot over to our fun little buy or sell segment at the end here, we have one last question for you, and it's, again, probably a loaded big question that you can answer however you feel. Just what do you see are the next steps for Montana State athletics in particular?
Ooh, that is a loaded question. I love it. I mean, this current time is hard to answer, right? Because there's just so many unknowns with the current situation that we're in. But big picture, kind of where we want to be is, I mentioned my giant whiteboard in my office, and I think one of the last things actually that was wrote up there before I started working from home 2 months ago was, how do we catch up to NDSU? Right. And so that's like literally written on my board, and in having conversations about, getting our scholarship funds up there, and closing that gap, which has been a huge goal of our development team, the gap in what we raise each year and what our scholarship bill to the university is. And, I think that is a huge next step for us. The fact that any day now we're putting a shovel in the ground for the Bobcat Athletic Complex is huge, huge, huge for every single one of our student athletes, coaches, support staff, et cetera. And so, I think there's such huge, awesome things ahead for the Bobcats. And I feel like we're just right on the cusp of being, an absolute premier FCS institution in this country. And I get goosebumps talking about it. That's largely why I came back. I wanted, yes, the opportunity to be back at Montana State and like be back at my alma mater and all those sorts of things too. But I wouldn't have wanted to come back if I couldn't feel something special brewing here, and it absolutely is. And even just to see the strides we've made in 4 short years, I'm so excited to see what we do in the next 4 years.
Well, you got me excited. Let me dust off if I can even find my checkbook from like probably 2 banks ago. Haven't written a check in a long time, but I'm ready.
Oh, good. I'll follow up after this.
I'm doing silent like fist pumps in the air.
Yay!
Listening to you talk. I'm just like, yes, this is what I want to hear.
Oh, this is awesome.
All right. Cool. Bethany, if you ever listen to our podcast, we get to do this little thing at the very end called Buy or Sell, and it's a fun little game we get to play. And I'm going to put you on the hot seat. These questions are just for you. So
okay.
Ryan doesn't have to answer these, but I got 5 questions for you, and then we're going to wrap this up. All right?
Okay.
So here's how you play. I'm going to ask you a question, and all you got to do is tell me buy or sell, and then maybe a little bit of an explanation on that. So like, for example, you might say a buy or sell winter over summer, and you go, oh, sell. And then you're like, whatever. All right.
Okay.
So we good to go?
Okay. Thank you for teaching me the rules because I was a little confused. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. If you're struggling, you can just, I'm your lifeline.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So question number 1, Bethany, buy or sell? Cat Grizz week is my least favorite week to be working.
Oh gosh. So if I don't agree with it, I say sell, right?
Yep.
Okay, so sell, absolutely. I love Cat Grizz week. It's my favorite week to be working. Probably the most stressful. But if you know me personally, you know that I just thrive off stress, and like I can sit here and pretend like, oh, I'm so stressed, but really I'm loving every second of it. And so just the anticipation building up to it, and they teach us when you go through internships and learning sports marketing that you're supposed to separate yourself as a fan. And I think I do a fairly good job of that sometimes, but Cat Grizz week is all out the window. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to the death here with my team. So my favorite week to work.
You're doing great. You're just picking up on the game. You're doing great. All right.
Thanks.
All right. Question number 2, buy or sell? MSU fans can expect a new uniform combo for football this year.
Ooh, can I do a layaway, right? Is that my cheating answer? I'm putting it on layaway instead of buying or selling it.
I like that. That's a good buy or sell themed non-answer.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think my official answer is I'm not at liberty to discuss any of our uniform combinations.
Okay.
We weren't expecting an answer, but
yeah,
shoot the shot.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Question number 3, buy or sell, Bethany, football season over basketball season?
Oof. This is a tough one.
Keep in mind, Danny Sprinkle follows us on Twitter.
Oh, that's true. Does Coach Choate follow you on Twitter?
I don't think so.
I have always had a soft spot for working in basketball. It was the first sport that when I was at K-State that like got to be mine, as in I was 100% in charge of it. And so I like that. I like that it's a longer season. So I have more games to, throw out crazy ideas and have fun with that. But, I don't think any of our coaches would fault me for saying that nothing beats a Saturday in Bobcat Stadium either.
Not going to argue there.
So what did you do? Did you buy or sell?
I don't know. I don't think I answered it. I'm like totally answering it like every question as a politician. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm going to put you
Can't
as a
make
maybe
me pick.
on
You
that
can't
one.
make me pick. Okay. Another layaway.
All right. Only 2 more. Let's see what we got. All right. Number 4, Bethany, buy or sell? MSU has an indoor practice facility within the next 10 years.
Ooh. I'd buy the thought of that. I mean, it's in our facilities master. And so I can't remember off the top of my head. I do not believe that is the next step, but at the rate we're going, I certainly would not shy away from buying that thought in the next 10 years.
All right. Writing you down for buy. There it is. Okay. And last one, Bethany. And Thorny put this in. And Ryan might have some thoughts. Ryan, why don't you ask this one?
Yeah, buy or sell? You've been asking this question, I believe. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh God, I'm glad you guys asked. I've been asked this all the time. I don't. Oh my gosh. If Ian listens to us, he's the one that first asked me this. I do. I think a hot dog is a sandwich, and apparently, I'm the only person on the planet that thinks a hot dog is a sandwich. But it classifies as a sandwich in my book, so I am buying that.
I think a hot dog is a specific kind of sandwich, but yes, it is a sandwich.
Okay.
A hot dog is basically just like rolled up bologna. So what's the difference, right? It's just
Oh, I haven't heard that.
a different way of having a bologna sandwich.
Yeah. I haven't thought about it that way, but I like that even more. Oh my
Had to
gosh,
ask one
awesome.
not sport related question there.
Well, good. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, that's all the questions we had.
Awesome.
We really appreciate you taking time to come on. It was a lot of fun. I hope you had
I
fun.
had a lot of fun. I had fun too. Thank you guys. I feel like I was a little long-winded with some answers because I'm tired, so I apologize. But it means a lot to me that you guys follow closely and care enough to want to interview me. So I appreciate it.
Sure. We do always end our podcast with a Go Cats. So can I get a Go Cats from you?
Go Cats!
Go Cats.
Go Cats.